Hello world, and we are back. My name's Kyle Fischel, and this is going to be episode 103 of my poker vlog. For this video, I play a 2-5 no limit hold'em session at Orange City Racing and Card Club. Before I get into the hands, I have a quick word from our sponsor. Hello love, dinner's ready. Hello? Hello? Alright, what is so interesting on your phone?
I'm playing the new Puzzle Rush game on the Red Poker app. Quit bugging me. In this game, players have 3 minutes to identify the nuts on as many boards as they can. Oh, and I'm going to beat the current high score of 66. The app is free, and the free version gives you 5 games of Red Poker and 3 games of Puzzle Rush. By subscribing to Red Poker Plus, you get unlimited tries on both games. And you also get access to your hand histories. The top 25 Red Poker players can earn $100 each week. What do you think I'm trying so hard? One of us needs to make money around here. And also, the top 10 Puzzle Rush players can earn $100 each week. That's free money. More money than you've ever made at poker.
I do too sometimes make money playing poker. Alright, first interesting hand. An early position player raises to $20. There's 3 callers before it gets me on the button. With 8-7 of diamonds, definitely a reasonable call or a 3-bet spot. For this hand, I think it plays fine multi-way, so I choose to just call. So we're going 5 ways to a flop of Queen, 10, Jack, 2 diamonds. Pretty good board for me. A 9 gives me a dummy end of the 4-liner. My diamonds should be live most of the time. When the early position player bets $25, there's 1 call and it gets back to me. I think this is a good spot to raise. I could easily have any 2 pair on this board. I could have king queen where it's pair plus open-ended. I could have my hand where it's gut shot plus flush draw. Even a hand like ace queen, ace jack may want to raise here, as they would have good pair plus gut shot to the nuts. So plenty of hands I think are good to raise here. I choose to make 7-8 of diamonds one of them. I make it $80. The pre-flop aggressor and the caller decide to call a second time, and 2 players fold, so we're actually going 3 ways to a turn card, which is the 7 of spades. As my raise on the flop gives me the betting lead, when my opponents check to me, now I have a decision to make. I picked up some showdown value, which is pretty good. I now beat hands like ace-5 of diamonds. When I have 2 different players call my raise, I think it's likely that at least one of them has a 2-pair hand, and is unlikely to fold unless the board gets significantly worse. I just utilize my flop raise to gain a free river, and I check it back. River, 4 of spades, definitely a brick, not really what we're looking for.
Hell are you? No! No! No!
When it checks to me again, now would be the time where I think that at some frequency you can turn your hand into a bluff. I both have microscopic showdown value, and I believe my hand looks like exactly what it is, a missed flush draw if I bet this river. So I just check it back, and luckily I did because the pre-flop aggressor had pocket 10s. Not sure I could get him to fold, would definitely have to make it very, very big, and even then I'd probably get called by a set. Either way, we'll move right along. With 2 limps, I'm on the button with pocket kings. Definitely going to raise this one up. I raise it to $30. Both the limpers call, so we're going 3 ways to a flop of 10, 9, 7, 2 diamonds. When it checks to me, I actually consider checking this one back. Very connected middling boards favor limp callers than pre-flop aggressors, but there's plenty of hands that I could actually get value from. Diamond draws, maybe a 9, 8, 10 jack, things such as that. As well as the fact that I'd like to keep the betting lead here. I decided to bet very small on the flop, $40, under half pot, and an early position player raises to $150. Definitely quite a large raise, almost 4x. I think he's kind of saying that he has 2 pair or better here, but as mentioned before, there are plenty of draws that he also could have that are not actually beating me yet. I think it's fine to make the call here and reevaluate on the turn. So I called the 150, and when the turn is the ace of clubs, my opponent snap jams all in for about $600.
It's cold and it's dark in that lamp, but I prefer it to this.
Kind of stunned me for a bit. Like, he jammed so quickly, I didn't even think that he saw the ace peel off, which really leads me to believe he has a hand like 9-10. He's just going for maximum protection against diamond draws and overs and stuff, and just really wants to end the hand here. I don't think a single pair can ever raise jam all too often, and even if my opponent was bluffing with a hand such as like ace, jack of diamonds, I mean, it did beat me, but I don't think he even saw that ace. Either way, this is not quite the board I was looking for, so I let it go. Might be too nitty, I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments. And having pocket kings get cracked feels like being smacked in the face.
Oh, wow!
Next hand of note. With 4 limps, I'm in the big blind with ace king offsuit. I raise to $35. Only one of the limpers calls, so we're going heads up to a flop of king 7-3 rainbow. Very dry, very nice board for my hand. I decided to continue for a little under half pot. I bet $35. My opponent makes the call. Pretty happy about that one. When the turn is the 10 of hearts, I mean, king 10 gets there, but I can still get value from king queen, king jack, maybe at some frequencies, some disbelieving 7x, and some middling pocket pairs that are not a set. So I'm going to bet again this time. So I bet kind of small a second time, only $75. And to this bet, my opponent folds. So we win a small pot. I include this hand because I had many hands like this in this particular session, many small pots being pushed my way. Many single C bets getting folds and just, you know, building a stack slow and steady. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you won 20 hands of $50 pots, you'd eventually make $1,000. No need to force things and be disappointed for not having the most action table in the room. You can always find a way to be profitable no matter what table you're sitting at. After many small hands, we eventually arrive at a hand of relative note. An early position player raises to $20. I'm in middle position with pocket queens. Could 3-bet, but one, based on how tight the table's been playing, I really think I'm just going to get a fold here too often to be profitable. And additionally, this particular opponent I'm against is a very tight player. I'm very confident that he folds all hands worse than queens and calls only hands that are better than queens. So player and table specific, I choose to just make the call here. 2 later position players call, so we are 3 ways to a flop of 8, 6, 5, 2 diamonds. Unfortunately low and connected, so not exactly what you want to see with pocket queens. The pre-flop aggressor continues for $30. I'm not going to fold an overpair to this small bet compared to the size of the pot. So I choose to just call. A player behind calls as well, so we are 3 ways to a turn card, which is the 3 of clubs. Doesn't complete any straights that weren't already there besides exactly 6 deuce, which would be pretty gross. When the pre-flop aggressor continues for $135.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
I think it's possible my opponent could have 9s, 10s, jacks, and then of course kings and aces. Also some ace x diamond draws that are sizing up to try to win now because they really don't have any showdown value to speak of. So against this range, I think I'm doing pretty good. Additionally, I've severely underrepped my hand, so I think it'd be pretty bad to fold here. So I decided to make the call, and luckily for me, the player behind decides to fold. If he was still involved, this hand would be much more difficult. The river is the 8 of hearts. Pretty bad card. Top pair turns trips. If for some reason my opponent had like ace 8, just cracked my queens. But on this card, my opponent checks to me. When he checks, I'm fairly confident I have the best hand. I think if I bet here, aces and kings call. 9s, 10s, jacks may just fold. Diamond draws are obviously going to fold as they bricked. So I think this is a fine hand to just check back, take my showdown value. And my opponent had ace 7 of hearts. So definitely was not going to call a bet on this river. And we win one of the biggest pots of the day. And on this Saturday, the daily special is baby back ribs, which frankly were pretty good for only $11.50. Always go with the specials at Orange City. Alright, back to poker. With 1 early position limp, I'm in the cutoff with pocket jacks. I raise to $20. Only the limper decides to call, so we're heads up to a flop of jack 5 deuce 2 spades. Not sure exactly how much value I'll be able to get with this hand, as I have most of the board locked up, but luckily for me, my opponent leads into me for $30. Well, I'd say this is a great scenario. It's possible he has the case jack, and he's trying to protect against flush draws. It's possible he has a flush draw, maybe 3-4, and supposedly 5s and deuces are very possible for this particular opponent. I'd love to be on the right end of a set over set. So because the flush draw's on board and my opponent led for about pot, he's repping pretty strong, I choose to raise right now. I make it $100. Unfortunately for me, my opponent pretty quickly folds. So I do not understand the lead, and that probably makes this a semi-missed opportunity. Oh, well, moving on. A final hand of note. An early position player raises to $20. I'm in middle position with ace 4 of hearts. I make the call. One late position player calls, so we're going 3 ways to a flop of 10-3 deuce, 2 clubs, 1 heart. The pre-flop aggressor decides to continue for $35. I'm not really going to fold with a gut shot, backdoor hearts, and an overcard. Additionally, this opponent had just rebought, so I think there's a high chance he's just tilting and trying to get some money back. So I'm definitely not going to go anywhere just yet. The late position player folds, so hoping for a turn card that gives me some backdoor hearts. Nope. Jack of clubs is the turn card. My opponent checks to me. I think this is a fine card to check back. I think my opponent's almost capped himself at a pair of 10s at best right now. I'm not sure how often he bets a flush draw and then checks when it gets there. Especially if my read is correct and he's tilting, I expect him to continue for a large amount when a card such as this hits. But I'll just check this one back and see a free river card. Try to bink a 5 or an ace or something such as that. Well, the river's the 7 of spades. And now my opponent checks to me a second time. As pre-mentioned, I think my opponent's pretty likely to be capped at a 10, where I could easily have a made flush and play it the exact same way. I could even just have jack queen turn a jack and take one street of pot control before betting now. So I think my hand and my story makes a decent amount of sense here. Additionally, kind of a highly exploitative point. This particular opponent was in the process of rebuying because he had just called a river bet and was wrong against a single top pair. So I actually expect this opponent to overcorrect and now fold. He has now learned that calling with middling pairs is often wrong, even though it'd be right in this case. Anyway, after a bit of thinking, my opponent does decide to fold. So we're happy to get this bluff through. Definitely was not the easiest table. But luckily for me on this day, we are into the game for $700. Out of the game for $14.29. We played for 6 hours, which equated to $121 an hour or 24 big blinds an hour. It was not the most action-packed table this time, but it's not always going to be insane at the poker table. If you watched all the way to this point, thank you, I appreciate it. Please consider liking my video. It lets me know you appreciate my unique form of content, and there will be more to come next week.